Hi, everyone. and Welcome back to No Time for Neutral. I'm your host, Georgia Hawthorne.
And I'm Andy.
Andy, what a weekend we had here in Montana. It was No Kings Part 3, and as far as I can tell, it went off without a hitch everywhere across the state.
So incredible. So
I
great.
think I saw 9,000 in Missoula. Is that what they're saying?
15,000.
15!
Yeah, we broke our own record. I think
Hell
they
yeah, you did.
said
That's
9,000
awesome.
people marched down Higgins Avenue, but then 15,000 people gathered in Karis Park for the speeches and stuff.
That's awesome.
There was
Well,
what,
now,
25 other No Kings
yeah.
rallies across the state?
There were 25 plus. I think it was somewhere between 25 and 30 when push came to shove. But yeah, from Libby to White Sulphur Spring to Gardner to Plentywood, like these were not Missoula Bozeman events. And now I feel really confident in saying that tens of thousands of Montanans showed up.
Absolutely.
Um, which I think says something. We're seeing protest numbers right now that are pretty much unheard of in modern memory, anyways.
Yeah.
Um,
Yet again, the organizers are saying that the No Kings rally, this is the third one. It broke the last two records,
mhm.
which means it's the biggest gathering of mass protest in the history of the United States of America, which is
Ah,
huge, if you
I
think,
didn't hear that. That's awesome.
yeah, it's the largest. Each No Kings rally thus far has been the largest gathering of protesters in the
Very
United
cool.
States. So each time, like we're beating our own record here.
Yeah, and I mean, like the strength is with the people, right? It always has been. And I think especially Montanans, like I think they're clearly fed up with the hand we've all been dealt from these Republicans.
Mhm.
Um, and I will say, showing up to rallies, showing up to protests, that's a great, great, great first step. But we've got work to do if we want to win an election this fall. So my first ask, if you went to No Kings this weekend, are you registered to vote? Slash, have you updated your voter registration? Have you moved? Has your contact information changed? Does anything need to be updated? And then once everyone's registration is set, everyone's going to go vote in the primary on June 2nd, which is coming up so fast.
Put that on your calendar.
But before you vote in the primary, you've got to make a choice, right? We've got great Democratic candidates in all three of our federal races. And so your next step is to attend a forum that's being hosted near you. If you head to montanademocrats.org/events, there's a whole list of them. We've got over 17 listed right now and maybe more. And again, these events are not just in the big cities, these are in smaller areas as well. So check that out, make sure there's one near you. And then you can also join your central committee. Our central committees are local chapters of the Montana Democratic Party that really are our lifeblood. These are the folks who get out and knock on doors, they talk to voters, they hold events, they run local candidates. These are the folks who make a difference in your day to day. And so showing up on a Saturday is awesome, but committing to our democracy is a long-term thing at this point because we're seeing threats that I don't think we've ever seen. So it's going to take everyone. So if everyone who went to No Kings this weekend does just one of those action items, we are in an infinitely better place in November than we are today.
Yeah, that's how we change the world. Important stuff, Georgie. Yeah, like it's one thing to show up. Thank you. Keep doing it, but it's the next thing we got to follow through. We got to vote.
Mhm.
We got to take action. We got to get involved. So,
Get your
let's,
friends to vote. If you're now the political friend in your friend group, it's time to rope in all of your friends now too and get them registered to vote and bring them with you to your forum and all of those good things.
totally.
But, Andy, as per usual, Congress is a mess.
Yeah,
Does this surprise anyone? No.
not in the slightest.
But for the love of God, could someone tell the Republicans on Capitol Hill that not all records are meant to be broken? Because they have broken the record for the longest government shutdown twice in
Oh,
less than
damn
6 months.
wow. That is a shitty record to beat. Let me tell you.
Nothing says we're winning like those kinds of records. However, so last week, things were kind of looking up. at the tail end of last week. Senate Democrats actually scored a huge win at 2 in the morning on Friday. The Senate passed the Democratic version of the DHS funding bill, which funds all DHS and agencies in full through the end of the fiscal year, with the exception of the enforcement part of Border Patrol and the entirety of ICE.
Which, by the way, ICE does not need funding because they're
Correct.
funded with tens of billions of dollars through the big beautiful bill. So I think
Mm-hmm.
we need to know that. Like,
Yeah, they're using the Big Beautiful Bill as essentially like a
uh,
slush fund
right,
for ICE and Border Patrol.
right. Carry on.
Whatever. So they passed this funding bill. This is really an ideal situation. It funds the agency through the end of the fiscal year, so we don't put any more shutdowns up on the table when funding expires or anything like that. And we do need a Department of Homeland Security. Everyone's seen the TSA lines. FEMA is part of DHS. It's about to be fire season here in Montana if the weather tells us anything. Like these are important agencies, but Republicans wanted to hold them all hostage so that they could have their like army of goons out in the street. But so they send this funding bill over to the House, which is basically just where dreams go to die, because House Republicans did not even take the bill up for a vote.
Which is insane because after so much back and forth in the Senate, they passed that unanimously.
Mm-hmm.
All 100 senators, Republican and Democrat, voted for this funding package. And then Speaker Johnson in the House,
Didn't
Republican,
even bother.
didn't even bother to pick it up. So,
Yeah. So instead of just everyone getting on the same page and opening up the government, House Republicans instead passed a 2 week CR to fund DHS. They said, "Oh yeah, we'll fund the agency in full, including ICE, for 2 weeks." That's our counter proposal. And I'm not sure how they are fitting that square into a circle, but whatever. As of Monday, the partial DHS shutdown broke the longest shutdown in history, which Republicans set back in November when they shut down the whole government. Um, and I think the worst part about the way this whole shutdown fiasco has played out is that House Republicans basically flipped off every single American and then went on a 2 week vacation.
yeah. Yeah,
Like
folks.
they're on recess now. They're not scheduled to be back until April 10th.
Yeah. They're not even there.
Like, are you kidding me? Because that's why the Senate did what they did. That's why the Senate passed the funding bill unanimously, is
Or
because
the
they all wanted to go home.
hmm Right. So
So
they,
they said, fine, we'll fund the government.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I just want to say, like, we feel for the TSA, like we truly do. And Democrats support those workers. Like, it's critical work that they do in our airports, checking luggage. Like, they tend to have to be the bad guys, like
Mm-hmm.
take our water bottles that are too full or, whatever. And so, like, they don't necessarily like see us travelers at 5 in the morning at our finest or at our kindest either. So those jobs are very thankless in the first place. And the fact that they haven't been paid in a month, like I
Mm-hmm.
truly feel bad for them. So thank you to the TSA workers that continue to work without getting paid. We do support you. Unfortunately, it sucks that they're feeling the brunt of this pain because Republicans won't come to the table when it comes to ICE. So, like, the demands of what Democrats
Mm-hmm.
are asking are very simple things. We want judicial warrants, which is just like basic common sense stuff, right?
Yeah, like a judge has to sign off on you arresting someone.
Right.
Tracks.
That's like normally what would happen in a criminal
Mm-hmm.
case, right? And like they don't want them wearing masks. I think
Right.
that's a very simple thing. Like nobody understands why they're masked in the first place.
Right. Like
Uh,
you're working for the federal government. You are a public employee. I pay your salary, and I don't get to see who you are. Hmm. Hmm.
Pretty
Nothing
nuts.
about that tracks to me.
And there's like one more demand, which is escaping me right now. But
Oh, it's a
Um,
place. It's places that you can't go into hospitals or churches
ah,
or schools.
sure.
Um, like
56.
establishing protected places or something to that effect.
Sure. Sure.
Um, the thing about TSA that's really been grinding my gears is that Republicans wanted to use TSA agents not being paid as their like political leverage. Like that's what they thought they were going to force Democrats out on. And then Trump just decided that he was going to pay them last week. He just like by executive order, here you go. Here's your check.
Right.
And so my question is if you could do that the whole time, why didn't you just do it to begin with?
I think he feels like he could keep that in his back pocket to make him look like the hero in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But like we're not stupid. So like
Right.
I
I
don't know.
mean, like, there's a lot of different ways this could go at this point because if you're going to pay TSA, that takes the whole TSA leverage out of the conversation. ICE is clearly off the table. Senate Democrats won't go for anything that includes ICE funding, which leaves you with FEMA. So, I mean, hypothetically, Democrats could just try to pass like a standalone funding for FEMA and fund the agency in pieces if they don't want to play ball.
Which they would. Democrats would fund FEMA.
Right.
Yeah. Because
Disaster management, like that's important money.
disaster relief funding, yes, important.
I live in Great Falls and I was out fishing on the Missouri out kind of off I-15 towards Helena, and there were three fires in the canyon.
Wow.
Like, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. But like FEMA money is probably going to be fairly important for us come July. Because if we are already starting fires in March, when our fire season usually doesn't ramp up to like July or August, I am terrified to
Yeah.
see what July and August look like.
And those natural disasters, like they could be forest fires, they could be hurricanes, they could be
Mm-hmm.
tornadoes. Like FEMA comes in, when Hurricane Katrina happened in 2006, like they were instrumental of
Mm-hmm.
helping out the residents of that city.
Flooding, like if runoff floods anything anywhere, FEMA comes in for that too.
And let's not forget, like Trump threatened many times when he was running for office to like defund FEMA.
Also true.
So let's just like not forget history here.
How, I mean, goodness, his position on everything changes every 3 hours.
Yeah.
We're at war. No, we're not. The war is ending. The war is just beginning. The war will end in 3 weeks. The war could take months. Like,
Or that we still don't know why we're in.
yeah. Um, gas hit $4 a gallon nationally today. That's the average. It's $4 a gallon of gas.
I believe it. I looked at the gas station across the street from the theater. I was at rehearsal last night, and it was 3.79 here in Missoula.
That's what it is here too. Which is crazy because Great Falls has the refinery. So usually gas in Great Falls is usually like 10 or 20 cents cheaper just cuz.
And it's not?
And it's not.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, the war is the war. um, Donald Trump has not provided any clarity whatsoever. He keeps saying that talks are ongoing, and it doesn't seem like there are any actual talks happening, at least not publicly. Iran has denied that there is any negotiation going on. The US like sent over a list of demands and said, "Hey, you should stop fighting." And Iran basically said, "Yeah, no thanks. Here's our list of demands." And it included like reparations.
Mm.
So those are very different starting points. So I'd be shocked if we gotten into a middle ground anywhere. Um, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed, but Iran is allowing some ships through,
Mm.
usually under country flags that they are closer to or allied with, friendly with, whatever term you want to use there. Um, but oil prices are sitting above $100 a gallon $100 a barrel again. Uh, Saw something over the weekend that Wall Street and oil execs are predicting that it might crack $200 a barrel soon. And if oil prices hit $200 a barrel, the world kind of stops.
It truly does. Like, can you imagine gas prices being double what they currently are?
No, right.
Sure. I, for people who are still on the fence about Trump, I think this may be like, wake up. Because, like, Donald Trump took us into this war a month ago, right? And like that decision, which we still don't know like why the fuck we're there, um, directly is affecting your pocketbook. Like we all have cars mostly because we live in Montana and we need them to drive. And now gas is nearing $4. Like, oh, it's not just because like the economy and the stock market. No, it was literally because Donald Trump took us into war. And now the Strait of Hormuz is closed and prices are skyrocketing.
And the other thing that's making me like really mad is like an adjacent to this is that because the strait is closed, Trump took off sanctions on Russia so that Russian oil can like be bought. So because Trump wants to start a war in the Middle East, we're giving the war in the North a pass just cuz.
Insane.
But speaking of high fuel prices, Andy, family farms in Montana are struggling. It is tough out here for everybody, don't get me wrong. But farmers have been hit really hard in the last year. Between this war in Iran, the illegal tariffs from last year, the imported beef from Argentina, the high fertilizer costs also because of the war. I'm not sure what Montana farms are supposed to do to make any money.
You mentioned tariffs. That's another direct cause of a stupid idea from the president of the United States. Like every expert in the room told Donald J. Trump tariffs are a bad idea and they're not going to trickle down well for the American consumer. Hello? American farmers are getting screwed over the most because of tariffs.
Yeah.
Bad idea, Donald Trump.
Well, so I found this. A recent survey from Farm Journal found that 74% of producers think that the crop sector is currently in a recession.
Sure.
76% of economists and 78% of retailers agree, which is three quarters out of all three of those groups. Um, which is so like it's about to be planting season, and I'm not sure how you're supposed to decide anything right now because the economy changes, especially for farmers, every like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And all of their fertilizer that they need for planting, if they hadn't bought it prior to the war, is all stuck in the Middle East. It's all stuck in the Strait.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so,
it's a tough time to be a farmer. I'm the black sheep of my family, so I like moved out of rural eastern Montana and escaped to Missoula to go to college and like be a city boy. Quote. But like my whole family still continues to farm and their
mhm.
world revolves around farming. And this directly impacts all of them. My brother, my cousins, they all raise cattle and grain and they're feeling this. It's not good.
Right. And I mean, farms are generational things. It's not like many people just up and decide in the middle of their life that they want to be a farmer and they like purchase the land and then they sell it before they die. Like, it's not usually that cut and dry. This is usually like, oh, my great 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 grandpa bought this in the 1800s.
Exactly. It's not just like flipping a house,
Right.
or a
It's
project.
not like an economic project.
Right. Yeah.
It's like these are people's livelihoods and their lives and like all of their history are
Yeah.
on these farms.
I have family members that would literally die on the farm before they ever considered selling to,
Yeah,
somebody.
literally.
Unless they had to, unless there was no other option.
Right. Politico recently did a deep dive into some USDA data that got released, and the findings are really bleak.
Mm.
The number of farms in the United States fell by about 150,000 in the last 5 years, and our total
And
150,000 farms
wow.
have gone under in the last 5 years. And our total farmland was reduced by more than 21 million acres across the country.
Wow.
Hmm.
So did it say what those 20 million acres would have been replaced with? Like, did the
Well, so yeah, the really concerning thing for us here in Montana is that farm numbers are dropping 3 times as fast as farmland acreage is. So what that tells us is that it's usually small family farms that are going under, but then they're being bought out by big farms, by corporate farms.
right?
Um, in Montana, we had 14% fewer farms in 2025 than we did in 2021, which is a pretty significant jump. We had 6 farms file for bankruptcy in 2025 as well. But through all of this, we only lost 1% of our farmland.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we've had the amount of farms go down by 14%, but actual farmland acreage has only gone down by 1%.
Hmm.
So it's an interesting trend to keep an eye on because it is folks' livelihoods, it is their family, their life. And frankly, farmers deserve a market that works for them. I'm so sick of watching Republicans bend over backwards to give the corporate version of literally anything they want.
Yeah.
When it comes to farmland, big ag and the meat packers, they get whatever they want. And small family farms, we get screwed. Billionaires get a huge tax break. The rest of us get higher taxes. I'm not sure how that works. The healthcare one that's really grinding my gears today is that, so you remember the like $50 billion rural health grant that Republicans passed after they slashed $1 trillion from Medicaid?
Yes.
And they were like, oh, this is like, see, it's fine. We didn't actually take any money away.
Right.
So hospitals have to apply for that money through the state.
Sure.
And so the state has to set up an application and everyone has to fill out the application. In the application, it basically tells them that the state is going to give them recommendations and they will receive money if they listen to the recommendations. The recommendations could include cutting programs, downsizing programs. So if I'm understanding this correctly, and I'm pretty sure I am, congressional Republicans cut like $1.3 trillion from Medicaid. That money that hospitals really rely on to keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
Then they gave us $50 billion, which is pennies in comparison to $1 trillion, made hospitals apply for it, and then said, yeah, we'll give you this money if you reduce your services more than you already have
Oh, they're crazy. They're crazy.
to.
Doesn't make sense at all. And it's so infuriating.
And they're going and like they're providing the option to turn hospitals who are insolvent or can't keep their doors open to turn them into rural emergency hospitals where basically like you have an ER and that's it. Like there is no inpatient, there is no surgery, there is no OBGYN, there is no peds, it is an ER. It is, we are here so that if you are on the edge of death, you will not die. And then we will send you somewhere else.
These people don't understand the importance of rural healthcare. I mean,
Mm.
healthcare in general, but like people that live out in the middle of nowhere still need to have access to healthcare too. You know,
Hmm. The
there's
story that I was reading about this was actually about Big Sandy and the hospital in Big Sandy.
sure.
And there was a gentleman who was in the story who almost had his arm cut off in like a freak storm.
Yeah,
Like there was a piece of metal flying around in the storm and it like hit his arm, almost cut his arm off.
sure. That shit happens so often in rural
Yeah,
towns, like
farming's so
farming.
dangerous.
Yeah, yeah,
And to not have real medical facilities in these areas
yeah. I mean,
is so dangerous.
John Tester from Big Sandy lost his fingers in a meat grinder.
But yeah, it is exhausting. It is exhausting watching them take a wrecking ball to everything all the time.
Literally everything, every department, education, like things that are absolutely critical to the functioning of our government. The Trump
Yeah.
administration is dismantling or eradicating. Like, look at the damage the Doge department did under Elon Musk. It was supposed to be a department of efficiency. It was chaos. And basically, what they ended up doing is stealing tons of personal data.
Hmm.
While they dismantled all these programs, Elon Musk ran away with all our data. That's what
Yay! That's
that's it.
exactly the guy I want to have my data, Andy.
Yeah. Of which he can use for his personal endeavors. The richest man on earth.
I'm not gonna get into my tirade on prediction markets here, but I did see that the Polymark markets were going up for whether or not Elon would become a trillionaire this year.
Ugh,
And if that man becomes a trillionaire, I genuinely think I might just spontaneously combust.
makes me want to throw up. I hope he goes bankrupt. I
Yeah.
hope, yeah, something happens with his stocks and he just,
I wish someone would give that dude $100 and say, you have a week, make it last.
right,
Because that's what the rest of us are doing.
right.
Like,
Ugh. I think he's probably the most like morally and ethically bankrupt individual on this planet, other than maybe Donald Trump. I just, can't stand him.
yeah, me too. But if you are just as frustrated as we are, I'm going to refer you back to our earlier steps. Register to vote, check your voter registration, attend a forum. Seriously, we have 17 of them all across this state. I promise there will be one somewhat near you. And if there's not, we will be streaming the Helena forum. It is all three federal candidate races. So we have MT1, MT2, and the Senate race. We'll be streaming it from the MDP socials on April 12th. So if you absolutely do not have one near you, you can always catch it online. And then if you're interested, you can join a central committee. You can do that at montanademocrats.org/volunteer. Anything else for the people?
Yeah, just a plug for central committees. I'm the chair of the central committee in Missoula, and we do all sorts of really cool, fun organizing work. Like the Democratic Central Committees are the grassroots that essentially build the party into the party that it is. We are the structure on the ground in your local area. So we do everything from send money to candidates after the primary that are running for office. We help candidates knock doors. Um, we attend public meetings and educate people on issues happening. All kinds of like really fulfilling things that
Mm-hmm.
think people can feel good about being involved. So if you want to be
Yeah.
involved, there's 30 central committees across the state of Montana, including tribal central committees that folks can get involved with. So I really encourage you to do that.
And if there isn't a central committee where you live, you can always help us start one because the antidote to despair is action, and the antidote to isolation is community. And I think a lot of us are feeling real desperate and real isolated. And I promise you, you will feel a little better once you actually do something with purpose and with like-minded folks and something building us a better future. So get involved wherever it makes sense for you, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.